Hi and welcome to Design It with Tammie Gibbs. I'm Tammie and today I'm doing a video that's going to explore turning your art into printables. So from pretty art to pretty profits is what I like to call this, and this is going to be the first video. I have another one I'm going to do right after, and we're going to explore helping you turn your AI art or other art into pretty profits. So the making of the art is very important. I have lots of things to help you do that, but I feel like the most important thing is for me to help you turn those pretty images into profits, and there are several different ways to do that, and we want to explore them all. So I'm going to be working on this series. This is not going to be long videos. These are going to be fairly short because I'm not going to be doing a lot of creating. I'm going to be helping you discover ways that you can take the products, the images that I've already helped you create, and turn them into products that people can actually use, that they'll want to buy from you in whatever form that takes. So we already know that you can take your images and you can turn them into clip art or like wall art. Okay, well, wall art would be a product. And so that's what this is all about. So let's get started. Sorry about that. Okay, so the core idea is that your art is often the ingredient, and you may not realize that when you're creating it, because when we have started selling clip art, we always just we thought of the clip art that is a product, but it's also a product that's also an ingredient for other people to create with, or even for you to create with. So the art is not always the final product. In most cases, the art is just the ingredient. Now, whether you sell the ingredients for someone else to build another product with and use that as your product, that is one way you can use your art. But we're going to explore all the other ways, because I don't know if you've noticed, but the clip art business has gotten super crowded with everyone making the AI art, with individuals making their own art as well. We have to diversify, and we have to be able to grow our businesses, grow our shops. So anyway, this is what this is all about. So a printable is a finished item ready for the buyer to download and print. So that is one avenue that we can build from. We have our art, and then we can build to printables. Okay, the next thing is a template, and we're going to explore the differences between printables and templates, and what things they can have in common and the differences. So the same artwork may work in both formats. So okay, so what is a printable? When you get right down to it, a digital product meant to be downloaded and printed as is. So usually it's delivered as a PDF, a JPEG, or a PNG, and it's best for products with fixed content and finished wording. So for instance, wall art falls into a printable. Gift tags that are going to be filled out by hand. So bookmarks, recipe cards. Now recipe cards can go both ways, and we'll explain that with the templates as well. They can have personalized features. Worksheets, planner pages, party games, all of those are examples of printables, or things that can be printables. And like I said, some things can be both and can be treated both ways. Okay, so what is a template? Let's get down to the nitty-gritty, and I'm not assuming that you just don't already know this stuff. We are re-exploring it, because sometimes what we know, we're not making the connection of. We're not always thinking about it, and so we're going back down to foundational principles that are going to help you in the months to come begin to transition your shop into a more insulated shop, rather than depending on the whims of the AI creation universe, okay? So a digital product designed to be customized first is a template. The buyer may change names, dates, wording, colors, photos, or sections. Often created in Canva, Cordial, Template, Adobe Express, PowerPoint, or Google Slides. Mainly because those are things that a lot of people already have on their computers or they can easily access, like Canva has a free version. I use Canva for my templates just because it's super easy for somebody to come, get a free account and then they can edit without having to purchase software, So you can't build on a platform that people don't have easy access to be able to make those changes. So that's key for templates. So some examples are going to be your invitations, your social media posts, business cards, flyers, editable signs, workbooks a lot of times. So those are some examples. Now, what do they have in common? We talked about this. Both begin with the same building blocks: artwork or clip art, fonts and color palette, page size and layout, a clear audience and purpose. Both also need good spacing, readable text, and clear instructions. Okay. A printable versus a template, and you may find that in your shop you want to do printables only, templates only, or you may have a combination of both. So a printable is ready to print, fixed content, simpler for the buyer. They don't have to do anything but just pull it up in a PDF or something and print it out. It needs less support, so that's great for that wall art, the tags, worksheets, and games. Okay, templates, you go into a lot more occasion and specific purpose things. So it has to be edited first, so they have to add their own features, their own things. Flexible content, so they can change things. More buyer control, the buyer gets to control more of it, so it appeals to a different audience. More instructions are needed. It's great for invitations, flyers, and branded materials. So both of these are very good directions to take your shop into. The real challenge is that creating the art is only the beginning. If you create the art and you want to sell it as clip art, that's fine. That's wonderful. I have a lot of clip art in my shop. It's how I got started. However, when you're just creating that art, you're missing out on a lot of opportunities. Now, a lot of us sell to other creators and we provide them with the raw materials, but there are also crafters out there that are not necessarily going to be selling on Etsy. They're not selling digital, they're selling physical products, and they need art. So that's a different market. And a lot of them are now beginning to use their own AI to create their own images. The market is shrinking a little bit. Not that you cannot sell. You absolutely can still sell clip art. I'm not saying don't. I'm saying you need to diversify and begin to use your images in different and more creative ways to expand your market and your potential to sell. Now, a lot of people that are not crafting to actually make money and are doing it for themselves, for home projects, home decor, all those kinds of things, are probably less likely to want to do it themselves. They want to just browse the images and find something, or find a product like a piece of wall art that they can just print out. So they're looking for a much easier way, so to find what they're looking for. So that is definitely a market. So you always want to ask yourself, who is this for? What are they trying to do? How will they use it? Does it solve a problem or make something easier for them? Because solving problems is always where you're going to make the most money. So you have to shift from what can I put this picture on to what useful product can this artwork become. So here are 5 questions that I find are helpful for you to ask yourself before you make a product. Who is it for? What is the purpose? Will it print well at home? Does it need to be editable? And what file types should I include? Okay, so here are practical challenges to consider: layout and sizing, margins, bleed, and trim safety, ink usage and readability, print testing, file naming and organization, listing images and instructions, licensing, and customer support. Pretty gets attention, usable gets sales. Okay, so let's go through this a little bit. Okay, layout and sizing. Obviously, if you're selling to a home market, you want to keep your sizing and your product sizing in things like, for instance, you could not sell banners that are going to be huge if that person cannot easily print it at home. If you're gearing it towards a home market, like someone at home that wants to print on their home printer, you need to keep the sizing realistic and the products you're going to sell to them easy for them to print with their home printer. And a lot of people are not going to want to pay to send these things out. So the easier you make it. For instance, for me, I usually include a 5x7 invitation template along with the 5x5 by 8x5, which is like a half sheet invitation, because that makes it much easier for them to adapt. You can get those half sheet envelopes and you can do that as an invitation card as easily as you can go to the trouble of them having to cut out a 5x7. 5x7s you can't get two on one sheet of paper, so it makes it much easier and more cost efficient to give them that other size that is very easy for them to then find envelopes that fit and create. Still, it actually is a little bigger, so it actually looks more expensive than a 5x7. So I always include both. That way, if they want to send it out or they want to take the trouble to make it an actual 5x7, fine. But I found that, like at Walmart, you can get those, that half letter size that fits perfect, and they can actually take and do print two at one time on one sheet of cardstock, and it's just better for them. So that's just an example. Okay. Sorry, something just happened with my computer. Sorry about that. Let's go back in here and see what we can do here. All right. Okay. So, goodness gracious, let's go back up here. The challenges. Okay. So, of course, your licensing and customer support. Y'all, I am so sorry about that. I'm not going to redo this whole thing because I had a glitch with the computer. Sorry about that. That would just take too long, and I don't think it's worth it for you. So, practical challenges to consider. Some others would be test printing. You can print them out to make sure they're printing well. Make sure that they understand that the type of paper with their particular printer, a lot of times the ink that they choose, the paper that they choose, is all going to make a difference in how their end product is going to be. You're going to need to consider margins and bleed and trim safety for them, depending on what the item is, and help them with that. And once you come up with some universal instructions for the particular types of products you're creating, you will reuse that. The designs can change, but the basic of the product is going to stay the same. So you do the one thing and get a good set of working directions, and then you can decorate the outside with different things to match your theme, or you can leave it plain Jane and just use it like that. But you always want to go ahead and think ahead and get your directions down pat, and that way you're not having to recreate the wheel every single time. So that just goes to your workflow. File naming and organization, obviously you just want to name things logically. If you're going to have a lot of different images included or things different included, you want to make sure that if you're including a 5x7 and you're doing it as a template, that you name your actual thing for your Canva file, that you name that in an appropriate way so that they can identify which template link goes to which. So you want to do that. And then of course you want to outline your licensing and provide them with a customer support email. You want to think about your listing images and your instructions. A lot of times once you get those kind of down pat, you can kind of follow those. You can create brand templates inside Canva that allow you to do your listing images a lot faster. And it is doing the same thing here. Let's escape here. Okay, so let's try this challenge, and I'm going to put this out there. I would love for you to share in my group. If you're not a member of my group, please go and join. The link will be in the description for this video. And this is the challenge I'm giving you. Choose one art set and create one printable, one editable template, and one matching add-on. And then compare which one is easiest to make, deliver, and sell. And then be sure and find my next video, which is going to be 5 ways to sell your art in Clipart, and that will be shortly published. So be sure and subscribe so you'll know when that one has dropped. And like I said, these are going to be quick but very, very informative little videos that are going to help you take your art to hopefully get you moving in the right direction to start creating some products that are going to make you some money. So subscribe to the channel, like the video, share the video and the channel with all your friends, and also make sure to check out the website for my playbooks and all that kind of stuff. If you're looking for a good generator, check out some of my videos on Artistly and look at all of those things. And until next time, happy creating.